Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Pericles, which is probably not a play that you know very well, and that's fine because we're going to get to know it together. Today we get to hear from Pericles, who is the Prince of Tyre, and we'll get more into that later. Tyre, not Tire. Tyre being a city. Yesterday we heard from Gower, who is playing the part of a Greek chorus, because this play is a little bit different than a lot of other Shakespearean plays. It just has a different vibe, and I can say that to you having read so many of his plays by now and explaining all these monologues. This one, reading through it, it just has a different vibe, and it doesn't exist in the first folio. It was not part of that printing, but there have been enough other printings of it, and enough scholars have looked at it, and they think that even if he collaborated with somebody on this play, that enough of it was him that they consider it part of the official canon. So anyway, we've got Gower yesterday playing the part of the Greek chorus. He does a prologue before most of the acts, except for Act 5, where things get a little bit weird. But Gower told us that we are in the town or the city of Antioch, and the king's name is Antiochus. Antioch is in Syria, and supposedly beautiful town. Absolutely beautiful, like the prettiest town in all of Syria. King Antiochus had a wife. They had a daughter. The wife died. The father, as the daughter grows up, she becomes really beautiful. The father thinks she's really hot. They are now in an incestuous relationship. But also, since she's so beautiful, like, word of her beauty has gotten around, and princes come from all over the place to try to woo her. But the king doesn't actually want her to marry anybody, so he's put in place this stipulation that anybody that wants to try to marry her has to solve this riddle first. And if they can solve it, then they can marry her. If they can't solve it, then they die, is the way that the whole thing is set up. So that's sort of the scene that Gower set for us yesterday. But then here in Act 1, Scene 1, we get to actually be in Antioch, and we get to meet Antiochus, and we get to meet Pericles. And Pericles has come to Antioch specifically to try to win the daughter, to woo the princess. So he's talking with the king, and they're like, yep, and you're here to try your hand. And Pericles is like, yep, and I know what the stakes are and all that sort of thing. And the king is like, well, bring in my daughter. Isn't she lovely? And Pericles, as the daughter comes in, Pericles says, see where she comes, apparelled like the spring, graces her subjects and her thoughts. The king of every virtue gives renown to men. Her face, the book of praises, where is read nothing but curious pleasures, as from thence sorrow were never raced, and testy wrath could never be her mild companion. You gods that made me man, and sway in love, that have inflamed desire in my breast, to taste the fruit of yon celestial tree, or die in the adventure, be my helps, as I am son and servant to your will, to compass such a bondless happiness. So what he's saying here is she's beautiful. Her face is perfect. She's probably never been angry. She's never been jealous. She's never been sad. She's just absolutely perfect in appearance. And then he kind of sort of prays to the gods, and he's like, since I'm a man and since I find her hot, please, gods, be on my side as I try to woo her, even though I might die in the process. So he's fully aware of the situation that he's entering into. And we, the audience, even though we've gotten a little hint from Gower, we get to hear from Antiochus himself, sort of how he frames the whole situation as he's explaining it to Pericles, and they get into all of that and the riddle and yada yada. There's a lot that's in Act 1, Scene 1. There's a lot of monologues. We're going to be in Act 1, Scene 1 for like a week, but then a lot of the rest of the play goes much faster. So anyway, that's all we got for today. Pericles thinks Antiochus' daughter's hot. And we'll see tomorrow if he's able to try to win her. See you then. Mwah.